very excited to have basically a man for all seasons, including one that we are probably all a fan of, the football season. We have Najee Goode on with us today. He's not only been an NFL player for 8 years after he excelled at West Virginia, University of West Virginia. He has played with the Philadelphia Eagles. Last year played with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He won the Super Bowl championship with the Philadelphia Eagles. And for some of you who might have seen my promos for this session on LinkedIn, you probably saw the touchdown he scored against the New England Patriots, which you saw in that highlight. Bill Belichick was not happy about that. So anytime you can do that, you know you're doing something good. Also, just a little bit more about Najee. As I said, he's a man for all seasons. He is also a tech company co-founder, and obviously that's one of the reasons that we have him here today. And there's a lot. It's really interesting. We'll talk a little bit about that, I'm sure. But there's a lot of athletes who are looking to technology post-career, but are doing some really interesting things during their career, which can't be easy. He's been nominated as the Microsoft NFL Honors Award finalist. It's called the Anything But Ordinary Player of the Year, and it was sponsored by the NFL and Microsoft Surface. So being recognized not only on the field, but also by some of the larger tech companies. So Najee, thank you so much for being here. We know you're busy. You have football season rapidly approaching. And I really have just appreciated the energy and speaking with you before the call and everything that you're doing. So we appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, man. Glad to be here, Bill.
Great. Well, we're gonna have a fireside chat today, and we're really interested to learn about your background, your history, and also about VEEPIO, the company that you founded. Can you just tell us a little bit about your sports journey? From being a youth, obviously playing football, to being in the NFL.
Yes, sir. Yep. I had a little bit of a unconventional background. Yeah, even though my father did play in the NFL, that's probably the origin of it all. I grew up from the NFL legacy. My father not being the first combination of father-son Eagle to play in the NFL. But growing up, didn't play contact sports until I got to high school. And then from there, just kind of skyrocketed. And, I think just having that preservation of getting there and then kind of taking off, I was exposed to a lot of the NFL greats that my dad had in connection with the NFL alumni, and went to school at a great school that we won 3 state championships, went to West Virginia, played with some of the greats there, Pat White, Steve Slayton, Noel Devine, JT Thomas, guys that I played with. But took an interesting to defense where at high school, I kind of got too big. I used to play quarterback. So went to defense, played defense, excelled at it, was a All-American, All-Conference. And next thing you know, I get a phone call at IHOP from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers saying that they want to draft me. And the head coach is a coach that I played against a lot in college, and just took off from there, and then rolled into the NFL 2012 season. Got to play a little bit as a rookie. Ended up getting traded over to the Eagles. Had a good stint in Philadelphia. Loved it there. Loved the atmosphere, the camaraderie that you see, and was able to win a Super Bowl. So really trying to make the most of it and keep going in correlation to our tech company.
Yeah, that's quite a story. I mean, obviously, that was a thrilling Super Bowl, by the way. I'm a Rams fan, so I was happy to see you guys beat the Patriots, though. And what a great kind of accumulation, like the culmination of where you want to go in your career is to hold that trophy. And I've seen pictures of you doing that, so that's fantastic. Now, let's transition to the other side. Where did this technology start with you? How did you get involved with technology?
Yeah, I was always interested in tech. Being an engineer at West Virginia, the academic side of my career has been always intertwined with tech and everything that we do. My partner, Jonathan, everything that we built, been involved with engineering coming in. I walked on, to add to a sports career, I walked on at West Virginia. So, and walking on was a little bit different because I had to make sure that, you had to prepare a little bit different for actually, paying for school and taking that opportunity and taking that risk. And that taught me a lot about tech because I was able to get some internships. I was able to join the Black Engineering Society, for engineering around Morgantown, which, excuse me, I was privy to a lot of different buildings, a lot of different structures, participated in some cool plans, and got wrapped into VEEPIO. Actually, the year I was hurt, I got hurt. Big year in Philadelphia. We had just came off a playoff season. Coming back, I got hurt into a game and went to see our college play. We played on college game day. It was homecoming. and got connected with Jonathan through another one of our co-founders. And, we always saw this thing with tech and VEEPIO as a way to create and capture content and to enhance and optimize it through, just basically what the fans love to tell you, and kind of where my role played in place for just fan engagement, being a football player, being involved in engineering, being involved with supply chain and stuff like that, kind of seeing like where those funnels lead to. And it really intrigued me. And the best thing about it is that our message from what we can do collectively together is, we can optimize any kind of content, which is, like you're saying, a lot is becoming digital. It's becoming digital content. It's what the NFL is pushing, is what, we're able to do. And my interest fell in love with being able to optimize, the content that I know as a player, I know as a fan, and I know as a person, and being involved with VEEPIO and seeing kind of how that correlated with all of sports, and how football correlates with, any type of business, any type of messaging that you want to push, and the true love of the game. Everyone loves sports. It's a cool ecosystem environment where data, the teams, the sports teams, the fans, the sponsors, everybody can come collectively and, truly participate in something fun. And that's really what stuck to my core. And VEEPIO, being able to optimize that, is kind of how I got wrapped into the technology of it and where we are today.
Very cool. You picked a good space. You picked the winner, kind of arbitrarily picked you for the Eagles, and now it seems like you're with the winner here. So I didn't know that you were a walk-on, actually, having played college football and baseball, knowing that many walk-ons don't make it to the professional level. So, I mean, I've seen Rudy, but those stories don't happen. So good for you. Yeah, it's very exciting what you're doing with sports and technology. I've been seeing this phrase come up a lot, the great acceleration. This pandemic has really accelerated so many things, technology adoption, and even just life in general. And sports have changed a lot, right? I mean, we're watching baseball and we've got the cardboard cutouts, and obviously basketball is a lot different with their basically digital arena. Still fun to watch, and we'll see what football holds. I'm not sure what they're going to be doing there, but the NFL will come up with something good. But one thing that's for sure is that everything's being accelerated in every business. So in sports, we're definitely going to see this acceleration of technology. And obviously, we're going to learn about VEEPIO in just a few minutes here. Jonathan, your CEO, your friend, you're both very active also at West Virginia with the technology entrepreneurship program there, I understand. And so we're going to learn about VEEPIO more. Just to get back to kind of, you've been successful. I want to get back to kind of what made you who you are today and all that. What, with football and with technology, because there's so many startup people here, right? Every company we have here is a seed stage company, and building a business from scratch, I know personally, and many of you on the call know, it's a heck of a grind sometimes, and it can beat you down. And having played football, I know there's some analogies. Can you tell us, like, what made you successful in football that also crosses over into running a tech business?
I think that the one thing that is direct correlation that I think everyone can understand in data and in technology, there's diversity, and you have to be able to overcome that diversity when you're in programming. You're talking about some of the things that John can touch up on, a little bit more, is like the programming and the digital aspect of what we do is, we optimize and we overcome. And throughout my career, I've had times where I've been injured, and I've had things in football to where, a lot of people don't know, in my past, 6 or 7 years personally in life, I've moved probably about 10 times, which is, can be traumatic to a lot. But, the ability to kind of deal with those things and overcome, I had to walk on. I think that taught me that, I got to first do a really cool internship with one of the best hospitals and pharmaceutical companies is from West Virginia, in the world. So I was able to just venture off into those fields where, once again, kind of dealing with that adversity, and what we do just in the fundamental core of our business is, we optimize and we overcome with situations that might exist in the previous world, dealing with data or dealing with, content. So that in itself, from the NFL grind, getting up, going to practice, the statistics are true, unfortunately, it's 100% injury rate. So you get up with some lumps or bruises, and then you got to overcome it. And that, just being that ingrained in my life with, lessons that I've had from my father and strategically building together, it was pretty easy to, work with Jonathan, and, honored to, strengthen our relationship in business, even to be here.
Yeah, there's so many good lessons in that. First of all, I'm 5 surgeries in, just played college football, so I can't even imagine, the wear and tear on your body. But of course, you've looked past your career into this new tech field, and you've picked a great place to go. The one thing that stood out for me, what you just said, and I think is so important, is that in today's day and age, things are changing so fast. We have to be ready to be flexible. So moving 10 times, new set of friends. Maybe you had family and friends go with you, just new scenery. Trying to fit in with a team where it's a business first, where really, there's not a lot of sympathy from what I understand in the NFL. It's like, hey, you got to get out there and do your job. And so it is with investors in technology, right? They want to see results. They want to see sales. They want to see defensible positions. So I think that flexibility was really, really important. So thank you for that. I think there's a good crossover, and I know that my athletic career really helped me in startups. So I appreciate your answers there. So what's your plan? After you're done with the NFL, are you going in full time to be an executive at VEEPIO? And maybe you are now. What's the plan after your career, your NFL career?
Yes, sir. Yes, that's one of the beautiful things about what we've been able to build, and like I said, adapting and overcoming and optimizing with Jonathan, being able to participate like I have been able to, do events, and like I said, in honor of the BitAngels. I plan on jumping into it full time. I was fortunate enough to meet them in the meat of my career, to where we were able to form strategic partnerships with the NFL, being their partner, being the Eagles' official partner, and actually moving forward with that. So yeah, that would be the case in point, is just being more involved with it. And the unique thing about sports is that being involved with VEEPIO, I can actively participate. We have issues, and we have different topics that exist in these playing fields of the NFL, the NBA, which we can all optimize. Major League Baseball. We really don't have a wall that we have to worry about as far as data and tech. So the fact that we can interact with all of these is, something that we definitely plan on doing. It's something that I definitely plan on doing, because strategically you see it now. Definitely with social justice, you see it now with different issues that come up around the world, and everyone is engaging and interactive. And one of the things that I think that we definitely do and have data to prove is that this is the right system. It's the correct system. Speaking from a player perspective, it's the correct system, because we're being able to optimize the players, the teams, the sponsors, all from their perspectives, and that's what the players want. And then from the teams and the owner's perspective, being able to provide, the main thing is optimizing engaging content for the fan, which is all of everyone's perspective. So being able to engage with the fans, being the chief fan engagement at VEEPIO, and making sure that that message is being portrayed in the correct way, like with characters like LeBron and the movies that they're making now, kind of jumping back into that, and and baseball and hockey and everything. So I'm really excited about it, and excited at where we're gonna go in the future, and definitely glad that we got this to propel us and be a catalyst for it.
Yeah, well said. In many respects, sports is a religion in America, especially in Philly, right?
Yeah.
So we are this content that's being created in sports, and I know I'm addicted to it. And a vast majority of the people in the U.S. watch sports. Your platform's really interesting from that perspective. Not only will it be used for sports, but it can be used for any content, to really not just to monetize it, but to engage fans and get them to what they really care about. So that's a real exciting thing. Just going back to kind of what you were talking about, one thing that in prepping for this meeting that I was impressed with is that, I feel like you're leading the way for professional athletes. We all have heard the horror stories of somebody having earned $300 million in their career, even in boxing, maybe even $1 billion, and not effectively putting that to use for themselves and their families, blowing it, basically, let's put it that way. I feel like you're a good leader, leading the way other athletes what they can do with their career. They can take the spotlight that they've had, and they can create a platform for good, not just good as in your last name, but good as in general. And what do another person's like Spencer Dinwiddie of the NBA, he sees a digital opportunity. He started a fund. He wants to tokenize his contract. He's trying to get that permission. Really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing with professional athletes? What are you seeing? Are they becoming more interested in tech? Are they becoming more entrepreneurial? What's happening with athletes these days?
Yeah, I think that in terms of what athletes are doing is definitely becoming more involved, because what social media and what technology is able to do with their platforms. I mean, it's phenomenal. Like I said, even with just involving social justice, and like live examples of what anyone here wants to see is like in the Jaguars app, you can literally understand that the simple basis of what just kind of diving into my tech side, the simple basis of, our technology being a pull versus a push, and athletes understanding that, along with the team, that name on the front, which is unique in football, a lot of people don't recognize, you got the name on the back, but you do it in honor of the name on the front, what you try to achieve. And I think what's been, I've been fortunate enough in my career going to the Super Bowl and playing. It's like, you start from this perspective of being a little kid. And, in that story, you have the goal of winning the Super Bowl. And fortunate for me, it happened. So in seeing that it happened, I've had the perspective to understand that, man, I've accomplished what I wanted to do from what I was trying to do as a little kid. So I've climbed the ladder, and like in the video game perspective, I beat the game. So now I look at the perspective of the world of involving the NFL and tech, and how impactful that it is, and seeing that athletes are recognized that whether they accomplish what they want to accomplish in sports or not, and they have that overall perspective if they've won or they lost or they participated or not, and they're able to provide an overall picture of the game that fans would love to see. And that guy that's the last man on the roster, which cases I've been involved with personally, being cut and being brought back, doing all of those things, because I've had a diverse career, being that number one guy, being up for contract and stuff like that. You're able to see that all of those men, in the locker room, they all have an interest to something like tech. They all have interest to entrepreneurship, because they are a part of the brand, being that their name on the back and the name on the front. So I think that everyone's starting to understand that the NFL and the NBA does a good job of it. And the whole thing with COVID is just drove it, like you said, into another gear for athletes to recognize and to pursue entrepreneurship. So events like this, honoring the ability that athletes have and what they're doing. Basketball is really huge in it. Andre Iguodala, LeBron James, you see those guys. You see that face a little bit more, but I think that we look a little bit better, under a mask. It's definitely a wave that I think is coming, and it's a great way that the NFL and these larger institutions can partner with the influencers, because the league and the teams are influencers of many, many years, and the players are the influencers of now. So once, they come together and find that meeting point, which I think we strongly have with VEEPIO, is being able to reuse that inventory, being able to capture, and capitalize on that data, just the fundamental resources of, making the overall tech experience better. I think that that's something that all athletes see, and that they're very happy to get involved with, that social media evolves.
I love that. Yeah, that's pressure being the last man on the roster. I mean, it's your livelihood. You don't know if you're going to get your paycheck. And I think that there's such a strong crossover between sports and startups and seed stage companies, in that you feel the pressure, you got to deliver, and you just got to push through and get that. So I appreciate, your leadership is probably being well received beyond what you even know. I'm sure a lot of athletes are going to watch this video, and hopefully they'll continue to be inspired by what you're doing, so that they can, help beyond their career, because it is a platform that every athlete can really, whether it's locally, regionally, nationally, worldwide, not everybody's LeBron, but hey, you and your family have really impacted Philly. So there's a lot you can do just in that town. And the one thing the world needs right now is leadership. So it's great that you're doing that. One last question, just get back to VEEPIO, because I want to know a little bit more about that. And Jonathan's going to tell us in just a few minutes as he presents. We're in this changing, great acceleration for sports. Why is it important now to engage fans more? What's different maybe in this pandemic that's lacking, or that your technology can assist with?
I think the two-part in that question, the first thing that I think that it not necessarily is lacking, I think that slowly developing something that we already have developed, is the true connection, establishing connection with the fundamental basis of what we can do, being able to just enhance that data and truly understand what the user is doing. When you're talking about developing any type of content to accomplish what it wants to accomplish, you have a video, you have a picture, and you're able to actually, highlight the things that's important to those fans, to those users. And that is what, I know that we 100% can do, and, we'll continue to do with the NFL, and as we continue to expand and scale. But I think that, that's one of the things that's missing right now. Everybody is making sure that they look towards the right type of messaging. And, a great story of what we're doing, and, what our tech actually does SDK wise, and connecting the fans to the stories that they want to see, is something that I think that we can gladly improve on. And just kind of what's going on right now with the pandemic, I 100% believe that it has thrown, the world into a hyper advanced, setting for technology, and being on the forefront of that in these type of fields are, as the world stabilizes and we go back to, operating, under normal conditions or as normal as they were. I think that these type of events, and companies like ours and the ones that are leading in this technology will be able to help the world adjust to get back to normal, which a lot of people, I think, haven't thought about when it comes to, kind of going back to work and trying to figure out that balance of the stability in the market. Well, you'll need to be able to connect, and you need to be able to optimize the data, the content, because, that's what the world is trying to get back to as far as, stabilizing. So I think that we'll be able to provide the bridge for that. And the last thing I would say is that, pre-COVID, we optimized and we did that. And that's what Jonathan can get into a little bit more. But, we were able to establish that, which I think is huge in itself, that, pre-COVID, as far as the VEEPIO connection and seeing what fans want to engage in, that was something that actually got thrown into hyperdrive post-COVID. So I think that it actually accelerated us and will continue to do so as we build. So sports, and technology, health and wellness, that'll be something that's exciting to look into.
Yeah, well, you're in it. And as we know, sports is a gateway for many people's happiness. So however we can help optimize that, it's going to create more happiness for many people worldwide. And I'm glad to see it back. And, what I really appreciated about talking with you today is getting to know you as a person. I had hoped for this meeting to be able to talk tech. And of course, we're going to learn more about your company in a second. But I just wanted to make that comparison between being a pro athlete and being in a startup or a seed stage company. And I think you exemplified that well. So Najee, really appreciate your time. Thanks for being part of the BitAngels Los Angeles session today. And of course, I'm sure many of the people who are here watching this video or on this call will be reaching out to you to have your guidance or even just, know you and communicate with you. So
yes, sir. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you to everybody else.